Hello, it's Cydney O'Sullivan from Social Superstar Secrets, and welcome Tracy Repchuk.
Thank you, Cydney.
Tracy's going to share with us some very exciting strategies. She's going to share all about internet domination and really dominating your market. So let me tell you a little bit about her. She's an international speaker and motivator, recurring riches for life coach, best-selling author, award-winning entrepreneur, a coach, a mentor, and a consultant, and I can now say that she's a very, very caring friend too. Her #1 bestseller, 31 Days to Millionaire Marketing Miracles, serves as the reference guide to newbies and entrepreneurs wanting to turn their passion into profits and accelerate business results. Tracy Repchuk catapulted into the internet marketing scene when in her first 6 months she won New Internet Marketing Success of the Year, wrote and launched a bestseller in 58 days, and made 6 figures with no list, no contacts, and no idea what she was doing. Since then, she has traveled to over 22 countries, appearing on stages around the world, and is deemed the #1 woman speaker in the world for internet marketing. She's covering specialties today such as entrepreneur reinvention, speaker training, author training, membership sites, and internet marketing. In addition to appearing in many published books, motivational movies, and numerous award nominations for business, coaching, and marketing, she has appeared on ABC, Fox, HGTV, 4 for Your Money, King 5, CW, Forbes, Washington Post, New York Post, and 40 others. She'll guide you along with her proven path to direct profits and show you how to create multiple streams of income from a formula you can duplicate for every idea you have. And today she's going to be talking to us about the #1 secret to prevent failure before you even start, how to avoid internet marketing pitfalls and create recurring riches for life, ultimate strategies to dominate the internet, and proven methods to create a traffic hurricane for free. So pay attention, get your notepad, get ready. She's someone who has mastered 4 key industries along the way, and she's going to show us what it takes to run an online business and develop a strategy for growth. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Cydney. It is such a pleasure to be working with you finally, and to really helping everybody that's in your community to understand the foundation that is internet marketing. And so this is what we're going to go through today.
So I'm just going to go ahead and let you tell us your story.
Now,
great, thank you. Go ahead.
Thanks, Cydney. Okay. So survey results. Here we go. Over 83% of people feel that they work too hard. They don't make enough money to get ahead. They have no plan on how to retire. And even worse, they aren't passionate about what they do. So if you're sitting there watching this and you're thinking, wow, yeah, I can relate to some of these. This is exactly how I got into internet marketing. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 19 years old. I've never had a job, and I worked my tail off as an entrepreneur. And what happened is eventually I got married and kids came along, and that shifted everything for me. Working the hours that I was working in my business was no longer appropriate, and I felt like I was completely off purpose because I wanted to be home with the kids. So I decided that I needed a career that I could run from my home. Originally I came from the software industry, and so I had a software business with programmers and the whole works, the whole 9 yards, office buildings, the works. And so I pulled myself home and I started in search of a brand new career. And I'll never forget the day that an email came into my inbox, and at this point I had 3 kids kind of around my ankles, and I just sat there and an email came through and I was like, whoa, what is this thing called internet marketing? Now, I was on the internet. I actually was developing software products for it since 1996, so I understood the logistics, but I was using it as a communication tool, not as a marketing tool. And I was like, whoa. So this is going to be one of my little thought points for everybody out there. And that is, when you have an opportunity, how fast do you respond? And so it was Monday when this email came in. And the show started on Thursday. And I was living in Toronto, Canada at the time. And the show was down in Las Vegas. And so I had to decide quick, was this going to be something I was going to investigate? And the answer came out to be yes. So I immediately booked a flight, and I got myself down there to Las Vegas, and for 4 days I sat and I watched this thing called internet marketing. And the reason that it was so important to me is because I was in search of something that a lot of you are probably in search of as well, and that was freedom. I wanted to have the ability to focus all of my activities around my family and yet create an income that allowed me to be flexible, allowed us to earn the money that we wanted to earn, it allowed us to be able to do what we want, when we want, where we want. This type of model was the model that I set in place. And I did it for these guys. This is my family right here. You can see my husband down there in the middle. My husband and I have worked side by side for over 20 years, and it's been an amazing thing because we've also been able to stay at home and raise our children together. And something that if you've ever had that opportunity, I can't praise it enough. And if you can see in the upper right there, that's my son Caleb, and he's 14 years old, and in the middle there is my daughter Celeste, and she's 15 years old. And over on the right bottom there is my daughter Kennedy, and she's 16 years old. And if you're thinking right now that, man, they're a little close in age, you would be correct. They're actually born a year apart in the same month.
Wow, they're beautiful children, Tracy, beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, totally worth changing my life for, right? So it's incredible. Now, as an entrepreneur, and then I started into this internet marketing thing, I felt like I had the freedom and the power to create this new life, and it exactly came out to plan, which is what's fascinating. What's even more important, though, is I noticed that my kids were watching me. I was like a role model to them, and in this case, it was from the perspective of being an entrepreneur. You know, because they never really saw us leave the home. We didn't have to get up early and commute. We didn't have to come home late, and they, really, they had for years no idea what we did. But as they got a little older, they got very curious, and my kids started to attend the shows that I was speaking at, which was an amazing experience because that's when they woke up. And I'll remember the day that my daughter was 12 years old, my middle daughter Celeste there. And she came to me one summer, and she said, I don't want to go back to school. And I said, wow, okay, what do you want to do? And she said, I want to be an entrepreneur like you. And I said, okay, what specifically do you want to do? And she said, I was at one of your shows, and I saw this guy speak on eBay. She goes, I think I'd like to start with eBay. And it was amazing because she had handed me at that point a plan of action. She had a bigger plan than I've ever started one of my companies with on how and what she was going to sell on eBay. So a few years later, this is what my daughter Celeste looks like. And yes, that is one of our trips to Australia, one of our favorite places on earth for sure. And so she started with eBay, and she actually moved to web development. She has about 70 sites, niche sites of her own that she operates. She also does website creation for others, and she does video production. And so she is now 15 years old, and she's been operating her own business for the last 3 years. The beautiful part there is we were able to transfer her to online school when it came time to go back to school. And it was amazing. So she does half of her day at school, and then the other half she can work on her businesses. Well, of course, the day that my daughter said, well, I'm not going back to school, and she was starting online school, which meant she was staying home with us, my son then turned around and said, well, if she's not going to school, I'm not going to school. And I said, okay, well, what do you want to do? And he said, I want to really get serious about acting. And so this is what his life looks like now. So he's 14, and he's been in Ocean Pacific, Walmart commercials, Subaru, Verizon, Guess Jeans. He played young Donald Trump in Trump Unauthorized. He's done Opal, American Express, Time Warner. He was in a music video with Hollywood Undead, and he played a role in the Grace Bedell movie. So he started his career and his business as an entrepreneur. And of course, when those two said it, so did my third. She joined in, and so she is now a model and an artist. And so it has been an amazing life, really, because this change to becoming internet-based and to having a virtual office allowed us to travel anywhere in the world and be anywhere. They did school, they did their businesses, I did my businesses. So that's really what our life is looking like right now. But I want to remind everybody is that I started out exactly like you. I went to my very first show, I sat in that audience, and I was like, what's next? I need something changed in my life. I need a new direction. And this is just a few of the places we have been in the last couple of years alone. All right, so we're now going to get into some meat and potatoes, the 5 steps to internet domination. The first I'm going to talk about is to know your market. The second is to develop a unique brand. The third is monetize your business. The fourth are internet domination strategies. The fifth is the steps to dominate the market overall. And so we're going to take a look at each one of these. So the first thing is to know your market. One of the things I discovered very early on is steps were getting skipped in the beginning. Everyone was just so eager and excited to get into the product development or to become an affiliate or to do something that they never took the time to know their market. This is one of the failure points for a lot of people, and I'm actually going to reveal the number one to you, the number one way to prevent failure before you even start, and it hangs around this area as well. And this is the number one secret to prevent failure before you even start. And what that is everybody that I encounter seems to be building the foundation or building their house upside down. And what I mean by that is everywhere in the world, no matter what country I'm in, if I ask the question, what do you want? Everybody says, more traffic. I want more traffic. That's going to solve all my problems. And the thing is, more traffic won't solve any problems unless you have the foundation already built. If you're not driving them to a landing page, which we're going to get to in a minute, and if you're not converting them, and if you're not selling them via a sales page, and if you're not communicating to them via autoresponders, then you're going to end up with nothing. You're going to end up with a lot of people hitting your website and bouncing away, and you had no idea what they wanted. Were they satisfied? You know, did they find what they were looking for? Nothing. There's literally no way for you to capture reliable statistics on what occurred. And again, a lot of the other way is people think that, oh gee, if I just got famous or popular or whatever. If the foundation isn't in place, you can't leverage any of that popularity. Sometimes people will say, I want to go on Oprah, or I just want to, if only I got on a radio show. Great, what are you going to say at the end of that radio show? Because what you had better say is, go to my website, blah, 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 and it better be a landing page. We need that name and that email address. We don't want them to randomly poke around and leave, because you have under 8 seconds to capture their attention. And if you don't capture it, then they're gone. That was it. We have no way to build on a further relationship. So I'm going to show you kind of a migration and the way to set up the foundation so that you can reliably and prosperously continue to grow. So here is the way that you know your audience. You're going to have to research. You're going to have to find the keywords. You're going to have to leverage the search engine optimization. And you're going to have to understand who is your target audience. So step one is, who is that target? Who do you want to buy? In most cases, many people say, hey, everyone's my target. Oh, everybody needs business stuff, or everybody needs health, or everybody needs fitness. You can't do it that way. You'll never penetrate the market properly. You really have to do what's called niche it down. You have to get down into some nitty-gritty points and focus in very specifically on, hey, I'm going to target pregnant moms who need healthy food. That type of thing. That's how specific. Now, that's not to say your product or service doesn't satisfy many markets. I'm going to show you how you can hit many markets by the proper use of keywords in strategically placed names, domains specifically. But here, if you try to load your corporate site or your branded site or your promotion with a whole pile of keywords, they'll all get lost. So how do you research for your particular target audience? Never before in history have we had a tool like Google. It is literally the ability to go out onto the internet, type in what you think or what you're interested in, and Google helps you. Historically, when I started back in 1985, when I started my business, there was nothing like this. We were rummaging through yellow pages. We were doing a good old-fashioned market research. We were paying dollars to discover and survey. Right now, the answers are all sitting out there, so it's an incredible resource that you really need to get in touch with. The other thing you want to look at are magazines. Let's say your particular niche is in the golf arena, then start checking out golf magazines. What are people complaining about? This is your purpose, you see. In order to sell something, you need to be satisfying a pain, or you need to be satisfying a pleasure. One of those two things. And if you can satisfy a pain, go for that, because it will sell a heck of a lot easier. So just make sure that you check out magazines that are in your area. Flip through them and see what people are talking about. Article directories are very good. So places like Article City or ezinearticles.com, those type of locations. What's popular, what's coming up, what are people talking about? That allows you to leverage keywords that they have already discovered and things of that nature. So it allows you to look at that. And forums, online forums, are a great place to find out what people are complaining about. And the reason you want to know that is because that is a great resource for your marketing materials. Because later, when you have to put together headlines or content for a sales page, you want to make sure that if up on a forum that you've discovered, they're all complaining about 4 items, those 4 items better be at the top of your sales page, because you need to capture their attention very quickly. And so these are fantastic resources and ways to discover that. And here's where I talked about you have to target their pain or their passion. So for example, if you're in internet marketing or any areas like that, our target audience is really kind of a freedom lifestyle, more time for your family, that type of thing, wealth building. And this is why, these are the type of words or targets we would hit. If you were in the, the restaurant industry, for example, you have to determine who is my audience. Am I high-end? Am I elite? Or do I serve family style? Am I, seafood and Cajun? That type of thing. You need to specifically know what you do and who you serve, because those keywords are important. If you say I'm a family style restaurant and people come and it's fancy and they've got kids with them, you're in trouble, because that means your message is not matching your specific service or product. For example, if you're a retail outlet, are you geared towards the bargain hunters or are you geared towards the elite? Do you have a place in Rodeo Drive and people come in and they sit down and they get their glass of champagne and you model the clothes for them, or are they going to root through racks? That knowledge and intimacy that you have with understanding your customer is something that you need to get your keywords and you need for your marketing material. And people skip this entire step and go straight to, I want to sell this, without understanding. And that makes it a much harder path, because what's going to happen is a couple months later you'll be looking at your sales page or your site or your marketing materials and wondering why none of it's converting. And this is usually the why. And then last but not least, if you're a hotel, are you boutique? Do you cater? Are you budget? Are you family style? That type of thing. And so you need to have a very intimate understanding of every single element. You need to put down who is my ideal client, all of the traits, and then you start to research. The second element of your steps to domination is you have to develop a unique brand. This is something we heavily specialize here because most people completely skip this step as well. You know, they don't establish a brand or a look or a theme, and I'll go through all the elements of what composes a brand. They jump straight to I am product XYZ and my name is X, and that's it. And it's really hard to penetrate the market when you don't have an established brand, because there is so much competition out there. It then becomes the second layer to the keyword level of, okay, there's the keywords, I found you, now who are you? And so you need to understand what is your unique selling proposition. You have to know what sets your business apart. It's like your fingerprint, you know, somebody needs to know instantly who you are and what you do in like one sentence, because if they can't describe that, you are going to get lost, completely lost on the internet. But even worse, when you're out attending live events, you're going to get lost as well, and that is your major opportunity to make amazing connections. So the unique selling proposition, and I'm going to give you a little small game to play here. And so here it is. There's the logo. So out there, I would normally say, you know, who are these guys, you know? Okay, and what's going to come back to me is, you know, they're the M&M dudes. So your brand, part of that is the logo, is your look. And then I would say, okay, what is their unique selling proposition? Well, their unique selling proposition is milk chocolate that melts in your mouth, not in your hands. Very, very simple. And that's what you need for your business. This is no longer just for big brands anymore, because we have the internet. We can put ourselves on fair ground here. This is a level playing field for all of us if you do this right at the beginning. And again, look at the simplicity now. You know, we know that's Nike, and what's their thing? Just do it, period. Now, granted, these companies have invested heavily so that we know this. And so what this says to me is how darn important it is. You can't skip the branding step. And so that says that it needs to be something that you put into your business model and your strategy as you're setting up. Because again, when I started in internet marketing, I used to take people straight to the internet. Let's just do it, you know, let's just get right in. I did know they needed a brand, but I couldn't teach them the brand. Not that I didn't know it, it just became too much. I was already, you know, it was too big a scope. So yeah, it was amazing, of course, when I ran into my partner, and we do both pieces now. And here are some logos from some of our clients. And as you can see, I mean, I can't even describe to you what their logos looked like before. They were like 1970s clip art. And so my partner, Debbie Allen, and myself came together and put together a new look for these clients. And now you're able to understand what they do at the look of them. Sedona Dental Arts, since 1988. Dentistry is very aggressive right now, and these guys had a history. It was getting ignored. Accounting, a heavily aggressive field for competition. And so, you know, Ireland's #1 tax savings expert, boom, that puts him immediately to the top of the pile. Journeys for conscious living, you know, career success development, wealth building for women. These are logo and brand establishments that start to give you the ability to be recognized and understood without getting explained. As soon as you have a logo where somebody looks at it and you say, oh yeah, this was cute, I love cats, and so there's my cat paw, and here's this and this, and this is how I made my logo. No, your logo has to say what you do very, very quickly. We become very visual. Here's a look at our logo, Power Business Mentors International, for example. Now, I've just shown it to you here on a branding tool that I use. This is the back of my computer. So this is a skin that sits on the back of my computer. So no matter where I am in the world or what I'm doing, as soon as my lid opens, someone's staring at me. And that's another thing. You want to really promote your brand no matter where you are. And of course, I won't be talking a lot about that today, but there's the QR code over in the right-hand corner, which of course is something that you should be utilizing for almost every ounce of promotion that you do now, so that I can take my smartphone and I can scan that logo and I can immediately go to your website. Then we're going to talk about the next piece, and that is the business card. And you can see that before we're even going online, we have you establishing a foundation. And the reason for this is if your business card sucks, then that means your marketing is being streamlined in that same direction. Because most times people will hand out a business card and 90% of the time there's nothing on the back, and on the front you have your address and you have your name and you have what you do. You're the president and CEO of Who Cares Anonymous, and maybe you have your picture, or maybe you have a clip art logo. It's thrown together. There is an art to putting a business card together, and the reason that there is, and nobody teaches this. If you go to your iPrint and your Got Prints and your Vista Prints of the world, all of the cards look the same. Here's your name, because they're going back to the prehistoric model where the only thing people had was practically a physical location. You got to come and talk to me. Now we really need to get to you in other ways, and we need to be list building as we do it. And so the front of your card needs to have your unique selling proposition, your logo, the brand establishment of you, and then drives to your corporate site. Okay, and then the back of your card is your landing page. This is your list building tool. So you're giving away your free report. You've got the ability for them to scan the QR code quickly. You're just putting it out there, what the benefit of what they're going to receive is, perhaps touching on some of your key fields, and then driving them to the landing page. And that means that your card has to have your brand on it, your unique selling proposition, your logo, and then the back has to be completely marketing oriented to driving them. This is the big call to action, all right? And again, if this was not put together right, chances are you're spending a lot of money on all of your other marketing material that isn't matching properly. Because if your message is lost, confusing, or unclear, it's time to reinvent before it's too late, especially at the rate that the market is changing right now. You know, again, I've been in the computer industry practically since it was born, and it's absolutely incredible just to see how fast it's changing. I used to think it changed fast before. Now it's the speed of light. It's absolutely remarkable. The third element to the 5 steps to internet domination is you have to go into your business knowing that you want to monetize it. And that might sound ridiculous. However, most people go into a business with no idea how they're going to really monetize it. They just want to be a business owner. I want to have my own business, and I want to sell my products, or I want to sell my service, or I have a great message to get out to the world. But then they don't understand kind of the back elements involved in making that a reality. So you have to determine, are you going to be running a business, or are you going to have a hobby? It's okay whichever route you want to go, but don't expect the hobby to pay out like a business. And don't expect your business to pay out like one if you're treating it like a hobby. And when you're establishing a business, you're putting real things in place. You're doing the phone, you're getting a bank account, you're getting it registered, you're doing all of the things it takes to be a business. Or else you're setting up a lemonade stand, you're playing with a hobby. And you got to remember, at the point of connection, which is when people are phoning you, when they're calling for a consult, when they're trying to look for you in a directory or online locally, they're only going to find you if you've properly set up and registered as a business. Then the second element you really have to look at is your finances. You know, I just find this so incredible, and for a couple of reasons. A lot of people start a brand new business. You know, hey, I want to do a business and I'm going to do it online. And they think it's going to cost nothing. I can tell you, starting a new business today online is probably the lowest entry point ever to starting a business. It is remarkable. But there are elements to setting up a business that do cost. And so you want to come in understanding this is a business. You're going to have to invest in certain things, and I'm going to go through some of those. And you're going to have bills, and you're going to have to, you know, you're going to have domain names, and you're going to have hosting, and you're going to have services you need to pay on a monthly basis, and you're going to need help to establish all of this quickly and rapidly. So you want to take a look at what is your business startup cost type of thing. And most people either put their head in the sand about this, or they're like, I'll just start it up because it's practically free to start up. And when you do that, you kind of end up wasting your time. And then you get frustrated, and then you think this business doesn't work. So you want to really analyze or take a good hard look at yourself. Are you working this like a business? Or the other type of person I've encountered is those with their heads stuck in the clouds. And these are the ones I'll meet, and they will say to me, oh yeah, I can't wait to get into internet marketing, and I'm going to have my fancy car, and I'm going to have a big house, and I'm going to have all these trips, and blah, blah, blah. And I'll say, that's great, totally you'll have that. What are you doing to get there? Oh, well, you know, boom, there's no answer anymore. And so your dreams and your big vision is fabulous. Put it on your vision board, have it in front of you. The thing is, though, it takes action steps. Every single element to walk your way up to that beautiful, glorious moment where you're making money while you sleep. And that is my goal for everyone I encounter. So if we take a look at a reality check here, and I want to highlight this because nobody ever talks money. They gloss over this constantly. In fact, it's never even mentioned. So the average consultant, this is what the average, if you're starting from scratch today and you're just going to start to cold call or get into your field, this is probably a reasonable transcendence towards what you'll make in your first year. And then what I encountered, though, is people will get onto the internet and they'll say, I want to make $1 million. I'm going to make it. Yay, there's my goal. Well, when you set this goal too lofty, especially in your beginning years, you will find yourself getting frustrated and defeated and feeling like a failure when in fact you're not. Every single step you take on the road to getting your business out there and getting it structured and getting the foundation built and getting yourself known is a good step. And so you want to make sure that you celebrate every single element of success that you have and watch putting out big, lofty figures that are practically impossible for you to reach in the first or second year. This is what you have to make every single month if you want to be a millionaire, $83,333. That's a lot of money. If you take a look at what you're making right now, and then you take a look at that, and then you dissect it, well, what would I have to sell to make that every month? It's a lot. It's a lot of work, and there's a lot of pieces in place. And this is why all I say for everybody that's just starting out is keep your big goals out there, but celebrate the small steps and the small victories as you go along the way. Do not defeat yourself before you even get there. Now, in order to build a business, especially one that's online, here are all the elements that you need. You start with your vision, then you establish your brand, you build that landing page, which is our list building mechanism, which I'll go over in a minute. Then you start to utilize emails so that you can communicate directly with your database. Then you have a sales page so that you can sell directly and instantly. You use search engine optimization so that you can Leverage your relationship with Google and get up in the keywords and the search terms that you want. You get yourself on social media and you start communicating and you start establishing your brand and who you are. And then you drive traffic like crazy. Over and over and over and over. Your life becomes traffic, traffic, traffic. But not until these other pieces are in place. And this is when we talk about internet marketing pitfalls. It's twofold. You either skip all of the steps or you go straight to, well, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to focus on this. And then what happens is we don't have a mechanism or a background or a foundation in place to leverage the ultimate goal, which is the make money while you sleep model. All right, so let's take a look at some internet domination strategies. Because I'll tell you right now, having traveled to about 30 countries in the last 3 years, the problem is not the economy, the problem is your marketing. And when I tell people that, they're like either angry or relieved. Because guess what? We can't fix the economy right now, but you can fix your marketing. We can fix that immediately and now. So most companies that I encounter only have half a strategy in place. What I mean by that is all they have is a corporate site. And your corporate site is great. That's fabulous. But Google doesn't fall in love with your corporate site very quickly, and nor do they pay attention to it very far beyond, kind of the launch of it. Primarily because Google loves a site that is dynamic. And corporate sites pretty well get built and then sit there. And so this is why sites that are specifically keyword-based are a very important part of the growth. So you have your corporate site, which is great. And then I'm going to show you one of our client examples here. So this was one of our clients called Patty Ridlin. Now, this was a typical site we were encountering. And Patty, I think, had been in the coaching world for a couple of years and not made any money. Well, of course, when I evaluate the website, we can easily see why she didn't make any money. It doesn't say anything. And that's the other thing you got to remember. Website developers are great for putting up a site, but they're not copywriters, and they're not branding specialists. That's a whole different art, and that's why it's important for you to kind of have all of that before you even establish. So here was her thing, life coaching for women, far too generic. Here is her unique selling proposition, possibilities realized. You're not buying it yet because you still have no idea what she is. Life coaching can be like 150 different fields. And then, of course, there she is, coaching women in all walks of life. That says nothing. It's way too generic still. And then there she is hiding. And so you're going to love kind of the transition. What we do with our clients is we interview them and establish what's their background and what is their passion really. And you'll see the transition. We went from life coach to this is what she was really good at. She was a career transition expert. She had she assisted people in when they were leaving corporate jobs, because that was her background, or they were moving to different departments, or whatever it was, whatever type of transition they were experiencing. She knew how to get them on the successful next step for their career path. And so that's, of course, what we pulled out. So you can see kind of the new look starting to get established. Here's her, here's what she's good at. A career transition expert. That's kind of her unique selling proposition right there. You can see, of course, we've added the landing page element, which means we're now going to attempt to database build. And we're going to give away a free guide that profiles her as the expert and then, of course, allows her to continue to communicate because she's got a name and an email now. And then here's another site. And you're saying, God, how many sites do I need? You need as many sites as it's going to take to establish you in the marketplace. So that was Patty's corporate site. This is Patty's speaker and coach site. And you can see we have a whole new Patty on our hands by the time she was done with this program. She's alive, she's large, she's in charge, she's owning this. your career transition expert. And that's what you need to do. You need to own whatever your unique selling proposition is, and you need to just be there. As you can see, there she is now. So your internet marketing plan, and we're going to talk about these three elements. So the landing page automatically attracts people to keyword-based landing page domain names and keyword-based fields. The autoresponder controls the mechanism of communication. So when you put your name and your email address, it starts to talk to everybody as if it's personalized emails going out. And then the sales page automatically sells for you on autopilot. And so we'll quickly go through each of these. And the reason you want to get these established is because your effort needs to be at trafficking customers. And that, of course, includes communicating on social media and any element where you are relating directly with people while your people are getting managed properly and efficiently in an automatic funnel such as that. So here's what an example of a landing page. The purpose of the landing page is twofold. One is to get the name and the email address so that we can start to communicate and build a relationship, because otherwise we don't know who visited our site. We have no way of contacting or getting back to them. And so this allows us to do that. And of course, in exchange, you give them a gift. The other thing is you utilize the landing page domain name to be keyword based. So for example, if you're in the field of golf, for example, your landing page would be whatever a keyword term is in Google. And let's say it's like golf for beginners. So you'd be getting golfforbeginners.com as your landing page domain name. So that's how you kind of do that. And then you take that landing page domain name and you put it on the back of your business card. And then, of course, later you would get more landing pages, but I'm just going to go over the initial one that goes on the back of your business card. There's the important piece right there. So the reason we want a landing page is so that we can create a community of people that know you, like you, trust you, and buy from you, so that automatically the relationship can turn into a profitable one. Here is why I am such a lover of landing pages. You heard from Cydney earlier that I wrote and launched and became a bestseller in 58 days. Well, the reason that was possible was the landing page. My very first mentor that I invested in said one thing to me: get a landing page and put it up. And I paid $5,500 for that advice. And so I fought. I said, why would I put up a landing page? I don't have a product. I don't have a niche, blah, blah, blah. And he said, do it. So I did it. And as I went off and started to write my book, my landing page was gathering and working for me. And it was getting subscribers. Well, the day that I turned around and wanted to launch my book, I had 3,300 people sitting in there that had done nothing but receive emails from me with tips. And now I turned around and I said, hey, for $25, if you go buy my book, I'll give you $600 worth of goodies as well. Well, as you can imagine, having built a relationship with me for 3 months or 58 days almost, and I'd asked them for nothing, they were more than happy to dole out $25. And that is the reason I became a bestseller. And so now I have over 130 positive reviews on Amazon. It's been on the top 3% of Amazon for over 4 years, and it's literally become kind of one of the Bibles of Internet marketing. It's actually an annual book for me. So every single year, I originally launched this in 2007, and now every single year I update it. So here's our foundation in place, and here's the autoresponder system. So remember, that was step number 2. So we fill in our name and our email address, and then all of a sudden, automatically, emails go out the door. You only have to create these once. That's the beautiful part of this. And then they're personalized, and they promote you 24/7. Then they build a relationship. That first email goes out the door, and it says, hey, here's your free gift, And then the second one goes out the door with a little tip, and then it has, maybe it says, P.S., let's connect on Facebook. And then the third one goes out the door, another little tip, and says, hey, I'd love you to become part of my Twitter community. blah, 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 next one goes out the door, you know, and then eventually a few more start to go out the door, and then you're like, hey, you know what, I got this great guide. I think you'd really like it. Go check it out, and then you're sending them to a sales page, okay? You're just stepping them into building a relationship with you. And then last but not least, we're driving them to the sales page. Now, you can drive them to a lot of interim places, but ultimately your goal is to have a sales page ready that will sell your one big item that you have right now. I'll never forget the first time I put up the crappiest sales page on earth when I look at it now. And I didn't even think it would sell anything. But again, I paid for a mentor that told me to get a sales page up, and I did. And so I put up this sales page, and it was selling landing page creation. I was selling my copywriting services for $5,497 for me to create a landing page for you. And I put it up there, and honestly, it was like next day or day after somebody had bought. I was shocked. I thought it was a joke at first, something had malfunctioned, but no, it was true. Somebody had actually paid me $5,500 to build their landing page. So I was ecstatic. And so now the very first thing I teach all of my clients is get a buy now button on everything you do. Even if you think it's ridiculous, somebody's going to click and buy one day, and you don't want to ever make it difficult for them to do that. So here's an example of a kind of a graphic-based sales page. Historically now we're in the landing page, we're in the sales pages that are kind of a long sales letter type of one, which is the majority that we deal with. The reason I wanted to profile this one is because I want to highlight and remind everybody about the greatest marketers on earth, and that is the shopping network. And I study everything, every commercial that comes on. I'm dissecting and taking it apart and figuring it out and reverse engineering it and then implementing those strategies, because they have the greatest marketing strategies and the greatest ability to drive people to impulse buy now. And this was just a great example of getting everything they wanted to on one page. It was just beautiful. And then I want to highlight some of the things. They've got their, they've got their major benefits over to the left. They got their price slash at the upper right, and then they've got their bonuses. The key to taking somebody over the edge of a sales page buy is to make sure those bonuses are in place. And then the steps to dominate the market. 10 ways to dominate the market here we're going to go through. The first one is to create that traffic hurricane. So you do this for free using search engine optimization strategies. That means blog. It's a great tool, highly underestimated. People think, oh, why would I blog? Nobody's following me. It's not about who's following you. It is about your relationship with Google. This is you and Google having a keyword interaction moment. And so you put your blog out there. Google looks, says, hey, yeah, this is nice and keyword rich, and look, you've put another fresh content on here today. I'd like you. I'm pushing you to the top of the search engines today. That is why you blog. And it's absolutely incredible. I can get any email that I want out, any blog post that I want hits in under 15 minutes to the top of the search engines. That's how powerful your blog is. There's no other page that can penetrate as quick as that. The other elements are articles and press releases. Again, this isn't necessarily to be picked up by all of the press agents out there. If that happens, major bonus. And same with articles. If your article gets picked up for syndication or it gets posted and published all over the place, bonus, bonus, bonus. Your relationship, again, between articles and press releases and why you put them up there is for your keywords and the relationship between you and Google, because now you're sitting up there with your site up on what's called a high-ranked website. So like eZine Articles or Article City or PR Web, they rank high in Google's eyes. So when you're there, they now push your ranking up. And so you now get to leverage off of their power just because you have content up there. And again, that's the majority of the reason why you do it. And then, of course, the mecca of all things that is occurring right now is our social media. It's the Facebook, it's the Twitter, it's the YouTube, and it's the LinkedIn. An incredible entourage and ability to, like never before, communicate directly with your audience. It's absolutely an incredible resource. And when done right, it can turn into, of course, a gold mine of resources and of possible clients that you can be servicing for many, many years to come. Then if you want to leverage some fast traffic formulas, of course, that's where you get into Google AdWords and Facebook ads. And two good ways. The thing is, just learn those properly before you start to dive right into them, because it can cost you a lot of money if you don't utilize or learn how to do that. And again, if your foundation isn't in place, remember the reason that we're doing, I mean, the reason I do, I'll tell you the reason I do Twitter right now is because I built up a database of 29,000 people really quickly, and I push them to my landing page. In Facebook, I'm pushing you to my landing page. In YouTube, I'm sending you to my landing page. In LinkedIn, I'm sending you to my landing page. I want you in my database. And the reason I do is because, one, I can control the conversation far more effectively. But the second reason is, if Twitter were to shut you down for whatever reason, it's happened to many, many people I know, boom, that database is gone. My 29,000 people could be gone instantly. I got nothing if I'm used to that being my business model. This is why one of the things I want to stress to everybody who's really leveraged in their social media is to drive people to your landing page, get them in your database, of course continue to utilize and communicate in social media, but don't underestimate the reason you're there is this is a #1 traffic resource, and you need to get them in your funnel. Some super traffic formulas, teleseminars and webinars, obviously off the hook. You can communicate to people, you can chat, like after this we could have a little FAQ session. We can do anything. We can really educate and at the same time communicate. Affiliate and joint venture relationships where you sell for somebody, somebody sells for you, you're leveraging each other's lists, and of course public speaking. This is where a lot of my time is spent out on the stages, and there's nothing like personally meeting somebody and saying hi and shaking your hand. This is, I met Cydney this way at a personal and live event. Well, it just makes it all the more amazing when when you've met each other already. The third element is consistent brand. Whatever you're doing, make sure your brand is continuing to move along. So for example, I do speaker training. Well, okay, there's the brand, and yet there's a different site. Obviously, I have to promote through a sales page designed specifically for speaker training. I have to promote, a membership site specifically designed that way. But if you'll notice, they all kind of have a theme and a look about them. You need to do that so that when people hit your sites, whatever they might be, they're not this random element that's out there. There's something that carries a cohesive story so that you can be understood. And then this, of course, is the greatest thing I ever learned. I remember paying a coach to become a coach, because I wasn't a coach, so I went and got coach training. And this was one of the tools that he showed me. And I applied this exact tool to build my empire. And it's the only thing I applied, pretty much. I took that core niche, which for me is internet marketing and all of the elements that encompass that. And then I created the book. So if you go over to the right, you'll see the book. Okay, so what occurred there is I had content. But what I didn't have was money. I didn't make any money from the book when it first released. I think I was making $1 a copy. But what that book did for me, because it became a bestseller, is it launched me to this much higher platform. All of a sudden, I got noticed. And people phoned me and said, hey, can you coach me through the book? So boom, over to the coaching thing. I'm like, sure, I can coach you through the book. And that's where I made my 6 figures in 5 months. Because I was charging $8,500 for one-on-one coaching and $3,500 for group coaching. So that's where I honed in my coaching skills. And then, of course, after that, the coaching moved to speaking. And then so I won the award from the World Internet Summit, and for kind of making the money and becoming noticed and a best-selling author and all of those things in as short a time as I did, because all of this occurred within my very first 5 months. So they awarded me, and they flew me from Los Angeles to Singapore for my very first speaking engagement in front of 3,500 people. And so all of a sudden I was a speaker, and it launched me on an international stage. And that changed my life entirely, because from there on I was booked for speaking engagements. And then I took that same information and started to do seminars and workshops on my own. And then I took it to CDs and DVDs. Then I took it to the Golden Goose, which I'll briefly talk about in a minute, which is membership sites. And then, last but not least, I took it to the ebook. And the reason the ebook was last for me is I wanted to gain a long-standing relationship on Amazon for my book. And I didn't want any distraction and any ability to buy it any other way. So anybody that wanted it had to go buy it from Amazon. So that's how I got a good ranking for the first 3 to 4 years that I was on Amazon. Then I brought out the ebook, and this is mind-shocking. $25 for the book, $47 for the ebook, and $97 for the ebook and workbook. And I sell 100 times more ebooks than I do books. And yet there it is. It's more expensive. People are like, why do people buy that? Well, they buy it for a couple reasons. One is instant. Everybody wants their stuff instantly. The second reason is, in my case here, I offer you lifetime updates. So anytime I add new content, you automatically get it. So you continue to get all the updates that I do. It gets posted into the membership community kind of that has all of the book content. And so there is, and the beautiful part about this model you're looking at is it's a handful of information. I didn't have to be kind of a genius at everything per se. I just had to know one thing and know it really well and sweep it through this entire model. And then, of course, if you want more multiple, because every single one of those arteries is a stream of income for me, and then you want more, well, you can niche out. You can start another niche if you want, or you can just coast on the one you have, depending on how hard you want to work. Here's the piece I want to briefly talk about. You heard me talk about the Golden Goose type of thing. That's when I discovered membership sites, which was probably about 4 years ago. And then, so I opened up my very first membership site. And it was, you got 10 people in the door, got me $970, and I was like, whoa, this is amazing. Like, because historically I sold one-off products. I'd sold the ebook at $47 or something, and once they buy, that's it. This was monthly revenue. 100 people in the door, that's $9,700 a month. 200 people in the door, that's $19,400 a month. You can live very comfortably with 200 friends in your back pocket. I'm not saying it's the be-all and end-all, but I'm saying that is a lifestyle in itself for a lot of people, just to sit there and coast with 200 people. And so the beautiful part about this, too, is, of course, this is recurring revenue. This is why I became the Recurring Riches for Life coach, because I was at that time 100% focused on teaching membership sites. And, it's just an incredible plan B. If you got sick, if anything happened, if you could no longer work, or if you had to go take care of your parents, whatever the situation is, you had this pumping for you. Number 6, as far as creating the ultimate market domination is concerned, is mobile marketing. It's time to be ready. This is an explosion like we have never seen before. We're talking, 6 billion people on the planet, and 5 billion of them have mobile-ready phones, are sitting there with their smartphones. Only 1.7 billion are sitting on the internet. The statistics are staggering how important it is for you to be mobile-ready. So what does that mean? I'm only going to briefly touch on it right now. But here is an image of what my site looks like right, Joe Blow mode on a mobile phone. Well, when Google looks at this, Google says that site is not mobile ready. It does not meet the 4 criteria. And so it would actually penalize me. And that's what's happening. Google is going to penalize you for not being mobile ready. And this is what a mobile ready site looks like. You can see it's got easy navigation. It's got click, or what they call fat finger technology, which means I just have to put my thumb on there. It's got a tap to call ability. I can connect to you with one click. That type of thing, So and its load speeds are very quick. Those are kind of the 4 criteria right there. So you can see, and what is happening is nobody is mobile ready, because they don't understand that the picture on the right there isn't mobile ready. And so this is a whole new explosion of market for you, plus of course it's time for you to get ready at the same time with your own sites. The 7th thing that you need to address to become domination in the internet arena, or in any business really, is to seek a mentor. And the reason I couldn't be anywhere if it was not for the mentors that I have invested in. And I have invested in a mentor every single step I've taken. If I needed Google AdWords, I bought a mentor for it. If I needed copywriting, I bought a mentor. I bought a mentor for landing pages, for sales pages, for business structure, for mobile marketing. For every single piece, I have purchased a mentor. And that's how I move fast, and that's how I move effectively. So it's something you really need to be looking at. The next element, the 8th element, is a mastermind. You want to be the dumbest person in the room, and you want to be relating and communicating with people that are extremely successful. And so I've belonged to a mastermind program pretty much from getting into internet marketing. And the reason it's so important is most of us are solopreneurs, which means we're sitting at home, we're on our computers, we're kind of isolated, there's nobody to knock ideas off with, and knocking them off with your family or your friends just isn't going to work because they have no idea about the industry. You need people that are further ahead than you. And this is why it's very important, because those type of people can help you see visions that are just not on your radar at all. Once you've established exactly and understand all of the pieces that I've put in front of you today, then you can start to outsource it. And the reason I don't jump on the outsource bandwagon immediately is if you don't understand the elements of a landing page, when someone delivers one to you and it's not converting, you'll have no idea why. Same with a sales page. You'll have no idea why that sales page isn't converting if you do not understand what they're delivering. So you need to know before you can hand it to somebody else and effectively manage them so that what they deliver back, you can say, that's perfect, or that sucks. Go back to the drawing board. So outsourcing. And the last but not least is you have to break away from the pack. You have to be the leader. You have to be the one that people are looking at in your specific field as the one that's always at the forefront. And I just always make sure myself that I'm out as far as I can go, and then I keep all the clients on the cusp of where that is. So I have 2 things that I want to talk to you about today before we bring Cydney back on. The first is a free gift I'd like everybody to have. It's theinternetgrid.com. And I want you to go and access my list building essentials, email list profits, rapid fire list building, maximum conversion, and opt-in secrets. This is kind of my list building traffic package. And so I'm going to give that to you for free. You just need to go to theinternetgrid.com. So make sure you take advantage of that. And this is, again, thanks, there's 2 things here, thanks to Cydney. There's this one, and then there's this offer that I'm going to take for anybody that would like to leverage information quickly and effectively. And that is to open up my Internet Success Mastery course to you and let you try it for like $7. And so if you're interested in doing that, it's I think it's 28 days for $7. You get to look at it all, get to see what that's all about. and it's socialsuperstarsecrets.com/ISM, which stands for Internet Success Mastery. So you can go and take a look at that. And yes, this is, again, all of these great gifts are courtesy of my relationship with Cydney. So that's all I have to say for now. If anyone has
Hi,
any
it's me.
questions or...
Can you hear me? It's Cydney.
Hi.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
I can.
Hey, oh Tracy, thank you for covering so much material. Like my head is spinning. There's a lot of things that you covered in there, which I really thank you for. Like all the mobile friendliness, how important it is to be trained up, before you actually hire your outsourcers. I've actually been a bit guilty of that myself. Bringing in people to build websites and stuff without really understanding what to instruct them.
Mm-hmm.
And so can you just tell us a little bit about about your membership program and what kind of things people will learn in there again?
Oh, in this, for sure. This is the steps that I showed you, it's the structure. So you will learn about landing pages, about sales pages, how to do market research, it's the A to Z of internet marketing. All the way to, as you progress further, you're going to learn about the mobile marketing elements and why it's important. You'll learn about Facebook. You'll learn about Kindle. It just kind of goes through the whole gambit. But the reason that membership sites, I think, are so good for people is it gives it to you every week in a chunk you can handle, a chunk you can read, a chunk you can apply. Because I find that if too much is given to somebody at once, they either get overwhelmed instantly and walk away from it, and this is why so many people have so much shelf help, is they bought products that sit on the shelf. But this allows you to baby step your way through all of the elements of internet marketing from ground zero on up.
Thank you. And then it's delivered in a systematic format, is it?
Yes, it is. So you go into your community or you go into your page, what becomes your page, and every week you'll receive an email, and at the same time a page opens up on your master-based system. So, for example, let's say you've been in the club for 3 months or something. When you go back to your page, there's 3 months of your information sitting there. All of the classes remain open to you, and you can just keep accessing them, because some people have their own pace or they want to go back and review something, so all of that information continues to sit there. And you also, of course, get a reminder every week that, hey, your new lesson is up, come on in and check it out and open it up.
That's wonderful. And I just want to stress for everyone that to be able to find all that information and have it all organized for you like that is really valuable, because I don't know if you know that I've been setting up Millionaires Academy, which is a whole series of training programs. There's a lot of mastery that goes into trying to work out how your membership site is going to be set up so that people can find what they're looking for, and so they get it delivered in a way that it doesn't overwhelm them. So congratulations. Exactly. Yeah. I know that you probably would have had to put a lot of planning into that to get it delivered in the right format.
Well, this is 4 years in the making. I had Internet Success University, which was my testing platform, and once I saw that it was successful and the steps were cohesive and it was well structured, I pulled that out of what we call beta in the software world, and I've now got it ready as Internet Success Mastery.
Well, thank you so much for making such a great offer for everyone, and you're making it available to us to try out, and for the bonus. And I highly recommend Tracy's book. I just bought a second copy, and yeah, and I'm excited to hear that you've been updating it, because I think I read it 2 or 3 years ago, and it was one of the few books that I was able to sit down. I'm one of those people that stops books halfway through and gets busy. But I actually sat down and read this one cover to cover. It was very easy to read, and it gives you a great overview of what you need to do when you're setting up an internet business. And I think what I've learned after being in the internet myself for a few years is you can get overwhelmed with it. What I like about the way you teach is you really understand what business owners need to because you came from a business background, didn't you?
Exactly. I mean, I've been an entrepreneur. I've been a business owner my entire life. I never had a job. And so structure of a business and the foundation is so critical, and it's never taught because people only are taught to let's make money on the internet, but you forget that that is a business online.
Yes.
And so I make sure that, yeah, that gets drilled in heavily.
And so many of us end up starting our own businesses from a job where we had a lot of this structure already in place as part of the infrastructure of the bigger company. And we realized once we've gone into business that we don't have the skills to run all the different aspects and set them up properly in the first place. You know, it's the old E-Myth thing where a lot of technicians decide they'd like to work for themselves or have to because they get, fired or, retrenched, we call it here. What do you call it there? Made redundant, that kind of thing.
Yes, yes.
So there's a lot of that happening now. A lot of people having to go back into the workforce, having had their children, and so basically, if somebody gets into your internet program, they can learn how to set the whole thing up properly, even if they've already started and realized they're in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, and in fact, if you're in a little bit of trouble, you probably need something like that. The reason being is you've missed a step. If you've got like you're like sitting there going, I got my landing page, I got my sales page, I got my product, I got my autoresponders, and I'm not making any money, you've missed a step. Something has occurred, and so it's always good, go back to basics and flow through it again. The beautiful part is when you hit like a landing page, you'll just be doing a little check. You'll say, oh good, I do have that and that and that, but look, I am missing that, or I have too much of this. And so it will let you really get an established understanding for what's either missing from your current layout or really what maybe you did wrong. It all depends where the information came from.
Yeah, and quite often, you pay web designers, and this is an evolving industry. So I'm dealing with this all the time, and I know a lot of my clients are dealing with it, where they had a website designed a couple of years ago, or even if you have a website designed now by somebody who's not keeping current, it actually might not be working very well for you. That's one of the problems, is that there's a lot of, you have to keep up to date, don't you, with what is current on the internet and what's working.
Absolutely, and really a web designer that's it. They're there to put the framework up for you, get your tabs in place, and get kind of a structure. The key to a successful corporate site, even if you're just looking at that, is the copywriting. The words on that are your 100% golden ticket, and don't ever ask a webmaster to copyright for you. They'll have no idea. You really need a professional copywriter, or at least somebody from your firm or somebody to understand how the copywriting for the internet works, because that's an art in itself as well.
Yeah, and I think there's a whole bunch of, you actually need a few different skill sets to set up a really good online presence these days, because now we're talking about somebody who understands your social media, how to help you get that set up properly, so that you're out where the traffic is. I mean, that's what this whole conference is about, is the summit is we're talking about the fact that the people have moved from, they're not that many of them watching traditional TV anymore. They're not really reading the newspapers. A lot of people, I know that my kids are now watching the news online. They're getting up every morning and getting onto a news website. And look at the Huffington Post, how popular that became with one of the world's most popular blogs. And then so the audience that used to find you through the yellow pages or through newspapers or on TV will now be on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. And
exactly.
Google.
Yeah, that's right. They'll be there.
Yeah, that's where they're actually going to get their information now. So your website actually has to be findable on through all those mediums. And so your web designer isn't just going to be somebody who understands how to work with Google and social media, but they also have to be somebody who understands marketing. And that's one of the things that we hear complaints about a lot, is that a lot of technical people who can build a website don't actually understand the things that you were talking about, like where to put the opt-in boxes and where to put the copy and the pictures. So those were great, those case studies. Thank you.
Yeah, that's why it takes a team. It really kind of comes down to that. Either you learn it yourself, which is the route I took. I got a mentor. You could practically say I got a mentor how to go bathroom properly, because I pretty well, if there's somebody that knows how to do something better than me, I'm on board with that. And so now I understand the entire gambit, but to just put up a website that's effective, there's 3 elements. There's 3 different people that need to be involved in that.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all this with us. And I want to congratulate you, too, because in the time that I've known you, you don't just take a mentor, you actually do implement. And can I recommend to everyone that that is really one of the secrets to success is if you're going to use any of us as a mentor or get us to help you with your projects, please do take the time and make it a priority in your life to do it. Do it. Get in there. We've put blood, sweat, and tears into building these programs to help you. Get in there and do the trainings. Would you agree?
You're 100% correct. You know, you can, like, again, lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You guys are going to have to become accountable and responsible for your participation once you join anyone's program. And, you know, that's why it's just so important that, you know, build a team around yourself of people. Get yourself a mentor that's going to whip you into shape, and you'll get there a lot faster and more effectively.
And I just want to say that Tracy, publicly acknowledge you, Tracy, because you've been helping me. Ever since we started this project, you've been coming on just voluntarily and saying, hey, you can tweak this there and improve that there, and I really appreciate it. So,
you're so welcome.
Okay, well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us, and definitely take advantage of that opportunity to get in and see Tracy's membership site, and just might be a fit for you. So we've got it up on our page, which is socialsuperstarssecrets.com/ISM. And you can go to Tracy's websites directly to find out more about her. So that's our page. And you can friend her on Facebook. She's everywhere. And then we want to hear about your success stories. We want to hear how this has worked for you. And I can tell you that Tracy's a great mentor, and she'll be there for you, as are we. And thanks again, everybody, for joining us. And thank you so much, Tracy, for putting this presentation on for us and explaining all of that. Thank you.
You're welcome. And thanks, Cydney, so much to put together this entire amazing feat of organization in of itself. The entire webinar series. It's incredible, and it's going to be such an asset to the industry.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I hope everyone's really getting great value. So, all right, well, we'll see you guys at the next one, and thanks so much, Tracy.
You're welcome. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Okay, so that was awesome.
Oh, very cool. Okay, good.
Wait, but that's okay. We can. Oh, it's not stopping. Why?